Alone on the deck, on a clear, starlit night, miles from land, even the most hard-bitten and cynical observer must ponder on man's place in the universe. Beyond the horizon, there is the vastness of space, with its myriad of stars millions of light years away. Beneath us is the vastness of the sea itself. Those who live on planet Earth need to remind themselves that they inhabit only a small part of it, for over 7/10 of its surface is sea. The principal oceans of the world, Atlantic, Pacific, and Indian, add up to a total of 124 million square miles of sea, more than 30 times the size of Europe. Sometimes the sea is a friend, at other times, a mountainous foe. As an island nation, Britain's naval forces have long played a key role in protecting the country's security and safeguarding our national interests overall. This is still the case in today's world, with its ever-changing pattern of allegiances and dangers. More than ever, Britain has a need for a navy of the highest flexibility and mobility, a navy that can face these changing horizons with confidence. The Royal Navy continues to protect Britain's national interests in all parts of the world. This includes enhancing global security and helping to protect the marine environment. To be fully capable of these many roles, the Royal Navy needs both equipment and personnel of the highest caliber. All of the Royal Navy's larger warships have a communications office which operates 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, just like the Navy itself. Wherever they may be deployed in the world, all ships are in constant communication with the Commander-in-Chief and his staff at Northwood in the UK, the heart of the Royal Navy. For it is here that the Commander-in-Chief and his staff make decisions based on accurate, up-to-date information received by satellite and accumulated by the staggering computer power that is the nerve system of our modern Navy. 3,000 miles away, one of the Navy's largest ships, an aircraft carrier, is recovering sea hands after combat air patrol. The remarkable Sea Harrier, with its vector thrust Rolls-Royce engine, is one of the most versatile warplanes in the world. As well as intercepting other aircraft which may threaten a task group, Sea Harriers perform strike and reconnaissance missions. The Sea Harrier is the most advanced, short takeoff, vertical landing aircraft in service in the world. In the heart of the ship is the ops room, or gloom room, as it's affectionately known. where a vast quantity of information is received, analyzed, filtered and assessed with the help of sophisticated systems. The operational efficiency of the Royal Navy depends on the successful combination of a wide range of professional skills. Not surprisingly, flying operations are the pivot of all activity aboard an aircraft carrier, whether fighters or helicopters, which undertake a variety of tasks. A month earlier, this carrier was being used in its secondary role as a commando carrier, with its helicopters lifting fully equipped Royal Marine Commandos into positions ashore during an exercise in the Arctic Circle. Today, the carrier is a sea control vessel, leading a task group, and using her sea harriers to sanitize the sea for hundreds of miles around. Meanwhile, the carrier's protective screen of destroyers, frigates, and out-of-sight submarines use their own systems to detect any threats to the force.
This is Alpha Whiskey, Sidbrook. The flash remains under surveillance to the southwest. Reckon that an exercise...
Radar is probably a warship's primary source of target information. A vessel's own radar can normally have a range capability well over the horizon. All of the information received is relayed to the operations room aboard the carrier, where the task group commander is launching the carrier's Sea King airborne early warning helicopters. These increase the range of radar detection well beyond the horizon and ensure that no unfriendly aircraft can get close to the task group without being discovered. Back on the destroyer, the ship receives target acquisition information, which has been fed from the helicopters. The ship's Sea Dart missiles can now be brought into play. Of course, not all threats come from the air. As part of the task group, a Type 23 frigate is carrying out its primary role of anti-submarine warfare, which she conducts with her own radar, sonar, and communication systems, as well as her own anti-submarine helicopter, working in conjunction with those from the carrier, which will use radar, dipping sonar, or sonar buoys to detect and locate hostile submarines. This is the new 3-engined Merlin helicopter, bigger, faster, and better equipped for operations at day or night, at longer range, and in all weather conditions. In a task group, the characteristics of each ship's weapons and detection systems are used to the advantage of the whole force. The Royal Navy's towed array sonar is carried by anti-submarine frigates. Towed for up to a mile behind the ship, it provides a highly effective passive sensor system. Type 23, known as the Duke class, is the Royal Navy's latest major warship and will play a major role beyond the year 2000. These ships have an impressive weapon fit. Perhaps the most spectacular is the vertical launch Sea Wolf, a superb self-defense system against aircraft and sea-skimming missiles. Harpoon missiles give a long-range anti-ship capability, backed up both by the tried and tested 4.5-inch gun for short-range engagements and naval gunfire support, and two 30mm guns for close range work. The ship's command and control system plays a vital part in the effective use of its weapon systems. The speed of modern combat is such that, unless the different systems can be engaged automatically, they may be engaged too late. In the frigate's operations rooms, air, surface, and submerged targets may well be engaged simultaneously out to the maximum range of the weapon systems. Completing the task group is a Type 22 frigate, which specializes in anti-submarine warfare, but can also engage multiple surface and air targets. The men and women of the ship's company know the meaning of the word professional and understand the importance of training. And training means exercises.
New sonar contact a bearing 040, 2.8 miles.
Roger, classification.
Classification of push-up low 2.
Hands to action stations, hands to action stations.
When an exercise is underway, the closer it can be brought to reality, the better. The conditions must be identical to that of a real engagement. An efficient operations room is completely dependent upon correct actions being taken by every member of the team, from able seaman to captain. Thus, the scenario for this exercise comes into full effect. The principal warfare officer informs the captain that a submarine has been detected. This submarine is one of ours, playing the role of an attacker in the exercise. But this makes it no less real for the submariners, or for the crew of the Type 22. Any contact between submarines and surface vessels has its own tensions. The frigate's sonar operators, using highly sensitive sensors, believe they have detected a submarine. The captain immediately orders the ship's helicopter to attack. In a matter of minutes, an exercise Stingray torpedo is on its way to the target. Tense moments follow in the Type 22's operations room as they await the result of the attack.
Torpedo, torpedo, torpedo!
But nothing is ever certain in anti-submarine warfare. In this exercise scenario, the Stingray does not complete its mission, and the frigate itself has to take violent evasive action. The ship's own anti-submarine torpedoes are fired as she turns. And minutes later, the frigate's captain has confirmation that the submarine threat to his ship has been eliminated. Everyone involved in such an exercise, whether aboard a carrier, destroyer, frigate, or submarine, will find the skills honed in exercises are vital whenever ships are confronted with real-life threats. Exercises such as this one ensure that ships' companies are prepared for any challenge in any part of the world and are capable of fighting and surviving in high-intensity conflict. Since 1980, here in the Persian Gulf, the Royal Navy has maintained a continuous presence in the Gulf and Indian Ocean area with the Armilla Patrol, principally to reassure and protect British merchant shipping and to demonstrate Britain's continuing commitment to the region. This experience proved valuable not simply during the hostilities of the Gulf War, but during the enforcement of the embargo which preceded this war. Thanks to the Armilla Patrol, the Royal Navy understands the Gulf, its people, and its customs very well indeed. As so often in the past, the Navy has helped to prevent places or people become isolated or blockaded. The Royal Fleet Auxiliary keeps the Navy's own sea lanes open by providing ships at sea with fuel, stores, ammunition, and most importantly, letters from home. Nothing lifts morale aboard a ship as much as the pipe, "Mail is now ready for collection."
Mail is now ready for collection from the regular.
This comes after weeks' worth of letters have been received and sorted by the ship's postie. This Type 42 destroyer has been involved in intensive exercises with other NATO warships and is now preparing to take a well-earned break. In this case, the beautiful Caribbean island of Tortola, one of the British Virgin Islands. Arriving in an overseas port, the ship's captain and company will want to make as good an impression as possible. So the entry is made with full ceremony and highly professional seamanship. To some, showing the flag is an outmoded and emotive term. Yet the Royal Navy's role as an ambassador for British interests, wherever they may be, is as important today as it has ever been. Warship visits help representatives of Her Majesty's government to promote British interests in a country. Include an opportunity to host local dignitaries on board during a cocktail party. They may also include sports matches with local teams. Work with local projects and charities.
The pictures on the log. Yeah, some of the boys have those, don't they? Have you seen any you like?
Or simply give the ship's company the chance to be tourists and even ambassadors. So far, we have visited the Royal Navy in the Gulf, the North Atlantic, the Arctic Circle, and the Caribbean. But a nuclear-powered submarine, like this Trafalgar-class fleet submarine or a Trident missile-carrying submarine, could be submerged anywhere in those 120 million square miles of ocean. The Navy never says where, as such submarines pass beneath the water's surface, unseen and undetected. It takes a special kind of person to serve in one of the Royal Navy's nuclear-powered boats, because you may not see real daylight for months at a time. Although they cannot stay submerged for such long periods, the Royal Navy's new diesel-electric submarines also require dedicated specialists. Like the newest frigates, the Upholder-class submarines have smaller ship's complements. However, they are both highly skilled and highly motivated. There is much delegation, which also means greater job satisfaction. The Upholder-class submarines specialize in silent work in shallow waters. No less important than the aircraft carriers, the submarines, the destroyers and the frigates are the Royal Navy's smaller vessels.
Off in the yards, Type 2 search.
Set. Clear.
Search on.
On.
Mark. Roger, USC injected search range 400 yards, bearing 278.
Bridge officer, we've got a good sonar contact at 400 yards, reduce ahead 2. Action vehicle 4, action vehicle 4, stand by, vehicle contact. Bridge officer, the indicated bearing is red 70.
Mine hunters and mine sweepers perform the valuable task of keeping ports, harbours and anchorages clear. While the Royal Navy's survey ships perform the equally vital task, not just for the Royal Navy, but for the whole maritime world, of keeping charts completely up to date. The task of keeping the Royal Navy modern has fallen on the officers and ratings of ships such as the new Type 23 Duke-class frigates. Visit a Duke and talk to the ship's company, and you will soon realize how intensely proud they are of this fine ship. There are many novel features, such as the combined diesel-electric and gas turbine propulsion system. It is both highly economical and, for submarine hunting, exceptionally quiet. And the reverse osmosis plant, which creates all the fresh water the ship requires. 60% of the Duke's equipment is new to naval service. The ships are manned at 60% of an equivalent ship, use only 60% of the fuel, and cost only 60% of the previous class in the first place. Yet the capability is 100%, as is the enthusiasm. The Royal Navy in the 90s will rely, as ever, on the development and improvement of technology. But in the final analysis, it is the professionalism and skill of both the men and women of the senior service that will ensure it retains its qualitative edge into the 21st century.
Okay, also. Signal into the north of the connecting trouble in the channel. Let's get the position properly in the channel.
Any day of the year can bring a new challenge, and the Royal Navy is prepared for a world of ever-changing horizons.